I want you to look at your goals, your dreams, your desires. Do you have a clear idea of where you're going and what you want? Have you played with this in your imagination? Do you have faith? Do you have a plan? If you don't have a plan, you need a plan. The Thinking Yourself into Exponential Results series on the podcast comes to you every Saturday morning and takes what we discuss in the Morning Mindset Club, compiles it into one easy to access recording, and gives you some killer bonus content at the end that's not to be missed and only available here. So let's dive right in. Good morning, and thank you for joining me for the Morning Mindset Club. I want to spend a little bit more time on the concept of love this morning. We spoke about it yesterday in regards to a particular passage in Think and Grow Rich. And if you didn't get a chance to listen to that, I would go back and listen to that first as the context for this discussion today. So love is a connector. Love is this emotion that builds faith and connects you to the all the energy that is the universe, spirit, source, God, infinite intelligence. Love is this emotion that connects you, bridges the human experience with the spiritual experience. And as you know, we are both. That's the beauty of being a human being. We have a human experience, which is very much of this physical 3D world with all our human fallibility and challenges and physical experiences. And yet we are also of the spiritual world. There is this element of us that is our soul, our spirit, our energetic imprint, our connection to infinite intelligence. And we are spirit. It's moving through us as us. So it is bigger than us, and it is us at the same time. And in order to connect to that very powerful energy, you must love. And it is such an incredible tool to tap into. I know that's funny to say that love is a tool, but you can really use it that way. And in order to use it as a tool, you must express it. You must love in order to love. It seems like a little bit circular there, and it is. I am absolutely recognizing the circularity of that. But you know what love feels like. Can you express it? Can you express your love for spirit? Can you express your love for that energy that is? Can you express your love for your dog or your cat or your lover or your wife or your husband or your kids or your clients? Can you tap into the love of this universe for everything in it? And I have a little funny for you. So I really, love is such a powerful emotion for me, and a powerful way for me to really tap into my experience of being connected to spirit and therefore infinite intelligence and everything that is, and my ability to call in what I want in life. So, but I didn't always have a good relationship with love. I didn't always understand what it, how to really tap into it. So there's a lot to that, and I feel some deeper teachings coming through on that. So stay tuned. Maybe that's a podcast episode later. But the funny that I want to share with you is I used to get really tripped up on this concept, especially around like, how do I feel gratitude and how do I feel love when I'm in my crazies or my negative thinking or my resentments or the places where I'm really not in that positive energy. And I used to start off my day, and now I have this strange connection with it, which I will share, pulling back the curtain a little bit. I'll wake up in the morning, and I think we're very connected to spirit, our spirit in the morning. And I will putter across the house and get myself a cup of coffee from my coffee machine that I love. Like, I found the perfect coffee machine and I love it. It makes the most amazing coffee. And the fact that someone invented a machine that not only makes the best coffee, but I can set to brew in the morning and it's there for me. It's like completely magical. And so I go and I putter across the house and I go and pick up my cup of coffee and I thank the coffee machine and I express so much love for it. It's a thing. It's a thing. And yet I feel the love coming right back at me as if it were not an inanimate object, but animated with spirit, which of course it is. And I can tap into that, and it creates this immense love connection, and as a result, faith connection in my day. And I start off my day that way, which is great. And then, of course, I have my coffee, which is my drink of choice in the morning, and I love quite a bit. So play with that for yourself. How can you create that open-hearted feeling right from the beginning of the day? Maybe it's not loving your coffee machine. Maybe it is. What could you do that opens your heart and connects you right away? Okay, we're finishing up this chapter on faith, chapter 3. In the remaining portion of this chapter, Hill describes faith and how it's applied through looking at Christianity, looking at Gandhi's work, and he describes the current business climate in his age, and then finally gets to the story of the founding of U.S. Steel Corporation. Now, I'm not going to read this story in all its entirety to you, but I suggest that you read it and maybe read it several times because it's a very interesting expose, if you will, on the creative process. And I will be highlighting a few things for you to pay attention to, but I wanted to first share with you how Hill describes this work, this experience of creating U.S. Steel Corporation. He says, because of the need for faith and cooperation in operating business and industry, it will be both interesting and profitable to analyze an event which provides an excellent understanding of the method by which industrialists and businessmen accumulate great fortunes by giving before they get. So the emphasis in this sentence are the words giving and get. And he's, yes, speaking about industrialists. Yes, he's speaking about businessmen. This might not be who you are, but the story needs to be looked at from the analysis of the creative process. How do you take an idea that you have of something that you would like to create and move it from idea to actuality, to physical manifestation? And he's giving you a big clue here. Give before you try to get. So I want you to look for that not only in this story, but also in your life. And this can be a confusing concept for people because they either they swing from one extreme to the other. They go from I need to get, like instantly wanting something from other people and thinking that there's scarcity and that they have to get before it runs out, or any number of different things. But putting a lot of pressure on pulling in money, if you will. The flip side of that is people not wanting to do that, thinking that that's going to be greedy or bad, or it's bad to ask for money. And so they err on this side of never asking. Neither of those extremes works. There's a cycle and a flow to giving and receiving, okay? What starts the engine is giving, okay? Always. And you can give in a lot of different ways, whether that's giving inspiration, giving an idea, giving an emotion, a sense of worth or value to someone. It can be giving time. It can be giving money. There's so many different ways of giving your intelligence. But you must give before you receive, because that puts you in a state of abundance rather than scarcity. When you give first, you are acting in faith. You are saying, I am so secure and so absolutely 100% sure that I will receive exactly what I need and want and desire, that I don't mind giving first. Of course I would give first. There is nothing to lose here. So why wouldn't I give? That is faith. That is a strong statement of faith. So for today's audio recording, for today's lesson, if you will, I want you to look at where you might be in that getting energy and where you might be in the all I do is give. And then I might be a little resentful. And I need to ask. Now's the time to ask for what I desire. Where are you hovering at the two extremes of this incredible law of receiving? It's the first law. Giving is the first law of receiving. Okay? So that's your thinking assignment for today. Tomorrow we'll get into the rest of this story on the U.S. Steel Corporation and how it's a great representation of the creative process. Good morning. I'm Amira Alvarez, and thank you for joining me for the Morning Mindset Club. Today, we are going to be looking at how the creation of United States Steel Corporation, which is a story in the chapter on faith in Think and Grow Rich, is a great example of the creative process, taking an idea into actual manifestation and creating riches in this case. So Hill says, first, the United States Steel Corporation was born in the mind of Charles M. Schwab in the form of an idea he created through his imagination. Second, he mixed faith with his idea. Third, he formulated a plan for the transformation of his idea into physical and financial reality. Fourth, he put his plan into action with his famous speech at the University Club. Fifth, he applied the following through his plan with persistence. He followed through on his plan with persistence and backed it with firm decision until it had been fully carried out. Sixth, he prepared the way for success by a burning desire for success. So let's break that down real quick. So in the first step, he had an idea that he created in his imagination first. He flushed it out. He started seeing it, planning it, putting this idea together. He actually, before he shared it with anyone, it was a fully formed idea. He could really see it coming into formation. Second, he mixed this idea with faith. Third, so faith is the key point there. Third, he formulated a plan. He actually had a plan. He did this strategically. Did he have all the little nuances worked out? No, but he had the basics of a plan in place. And he put that plan into action. So action, again, is critical here. And I know that seems somewhat obvious. Of course you have to take action. It would be silly to think that you could just sit in your living room staring at the ceiling saying, this is what I want, and not take any action and have it come to pass. That's not how things manifest in this world. They just don't. They just don't. Now, there's a lot of things that manifest through unique channels that we don't quite understand. But there's always, and let me say that differently, we can come to understand them, and then they don't seem as magical or miraculous, but they, from the level of awareness that you may be working at right now, they seem completely miraculous. Like, how did that possibly happen so quickly? But there's a methodology to it. And part of that methodology, which Hill is outlining here, part of that methodology is really understanding that you do need to take action. Okay? So action, and bold action, is required. And then he applied and followed through on his plan with persistence. There is a whole chapter in Think and Grow Rich on persistence, because persistence is such a key element to success. So many people start, and when they hit their first block, or they don't get instant gratification for what they desire, they quit, they stop. This is not persistence. You must be persistent in your desire, persistent in your imagination, persistent in your faith, persistent in your action. Okay? All of it requires persistence. And he backed it with a firm decision. Okay? That actually probably came a little bit before. And he prepared the way for success with a burning desire for it. So what Hill is saying here is that this burning desire for success is like, it's like the person with the machete in front of the line of people walking through the jungle. It's like the thing that clears the way for you to walk that path. You must have that strong burning desire for success. Okay, so for you today, I want you to look at your goals, your dreams, your desires. Do you have a clear idea of where you're going and what you want? Have you played with this in your imagination? Do you have faith? Do you have a plan? If you don't have a plan, you need a plan. If you want help with a plan, please reach out to me. This is one of the things that I do for my clients, is help them clarify where they're going and how to create a plan to get there. This is a collaborative process, but it's one of my genius pieces, if you will, genius traits, if you will, is helping people come up with a clear plan to get from where they are now to where they want to be. And then he took action. So where are you taking action or needing to take action? Where do you need to engage in more persistence? Where are you letting yourself kind of off the hook? Okay, and you need to be like, actually, I need to up my persistence around this. Have you made a firm decision that you're doing this, or are you wishy-washy here? And do you have a burning desire for success? So those are a lot of questions. Take them one at a time, okay? And let me know how that goes. A quick heads up. If you're loving this material, you can access the full Success and Wealth Consciousness program we have to help you achieve your big financial goals and life dreams for free at theunstoppablewoman.com/mindset club. You will have access to daily trainings and mindset practices to help you stay focused, clear, and in action. So go get it at theunstoppablewoman.com/mindset club. Good morning. I'm Amira Alvarez, and thank you for joining me for the Morning Mindset Club. Now, I want to give you a few pointers of what to look for, aside from what we've already covered, in this story of the creation of United States Steel Corporation and how Charles Schwab went about doing this. So here are some things to look for. Gratitude. Thankfulness. Where was that at play? And how did Schwab give in advance before he asked for anything? Can you find 3, 4, 5 examples of this? They're everywhere in this story. Okay? What about the idea of proper and right? There are so many examples in this story of where there is proper decorum thrown aside. And I want you to think about how people become rule bound and how that might limit you from the good that you desire. So the question to ask yourself is, what rules matter to you? I happen to believe in universal law. I have found those laws or rules to hold true no matter what. I have tested them and proved their efficacy over and over and over again, and I have not found an example of them not being true or working. Therefore, they are law to me. Okay? They're like the law of gravity. It works whether I understand the entire mechanism for it or not. I cannot find an example of it not working. So for you, when you think about the shoulds of society, I want you to consider, what are you basing your decision to agree with those shoulds of society on? And is that working for you? And how might it not be working for you? Okay? There's several examples of that in this story, from the niceties of language to how long he's supposed to speak and what's supposed to go on, and how to show up and what to say, how to interact with your employer, what is trust built on? All sorts of things in this story that are worth exploring. Okay, so you also want to look for the impression of increase. Those of you who have studied the science of getting rich with me will understand the emphasis that I place on the impression of increase. And you are going to want to look for that in this story. And you're also going to look for the idea of abundance here, the creative plane versus the competitive plane. Where has that shown up in this story? And there's a little dance around that. It's quite interesting. Also look for how numbers are a key element in this story of creation. They weren't just looking at pie in the sky stuff. They brought it down to you could say the human plane, the physical plane, the concrete plane. And they worked with numbers first just on paper, right? That's almost like imagination, right? It hasn't actually happened yet, but they've imagined it through the numbers. And lastly, I want to say that think about what was asked for in this story, and what came before the asking, and what came after the asking. And for yourself, where do you limit yourself? Where do you not ask for enough from life? Good morning. I'm Amira Alvarez, and thank you for joining me for the Morning Mindset Club. Today, we start Chapter 4 in Think and Grow Rich, Autosuggestion, the medium for influencing the subconscious mind, the third step towards riches. So Hill has dedicated a full chapter to autosuggestion, even though he is mentioning it throughout the book, because it is such a key factor in changing your thinking around your goal. So in order to achieve something new, achieve the big goal or dream that you have, you must think differently about it. Otherwise, you would have achieved it already. You must act differently as well. It's not just thinking. You must act differently as well. But your thinking will drive your new actions. We've already covered that. Okay, let's dive right into this chapter. Autosuggestion is a term which applies to all suggestions and all self-administered stimuli which reaches one's mind through the five senses. Stated in another way, autosuggestion is self-suggestion. It is the agency of communication between that part of the mind where conscious thought takes place and that which serves as the seat of action for the subconscious mind. Okay, Let's break this down. This first sentence is really juicy in and of itself, where he says, all self-administered stimuli, which reaches one's mind through the 5 senses. So self-administered stimuli. Now, generally speaking, we're going to think about that as consciously self-administered stimuli. It's your goal card that you repeat to yourself over and over and over again, morning and night. It is the vision board that you see through your eyes of your future life, the life that you wish to be living now in pictures. You see that through your eyes. You've put that together yourself consciously. But what of the semi-conscious or unconscious self-administered stimuli? Think about your environment, your physical environment. You have put that together. That is self-administered. If that environment, the people, places, and things in your environment is not what you desire, it's being reinforced over and over again. Ooh, isn't that interesting? What do we do? Well, I would suggest that you take a look at your environment, the people, places, and things. Which of these is conducive and lines up with what you desire? Not what you're willing to accept, not what's good enough, not what is acceptable for now, but what you truly desire. Be rigorous in this. Hold a high standard for yourself and look around. Now, it might not be all or nothing. It might not be black and white. Your life partner might be hugely wonderful in 99.9% of the ways. But what is that place that's not conducive to what you want? That's interesting. Just make a note of it. What in your physical environment, your home? Is it messy? Is it not beautiful? Is it small and cramped? Is it too large and vacant? Right? Everyone has their own desires. There is not one singular right way to this. Look around. What have you self-created in your environment? We've talked about people, we've talked about places. Maybe it's the general city or state you live in. Maybe it's the job you go to, your work environment. Maybe it's the business you've created. Maybe it's the team members on your team. Look at your self-created environment, and guess what? You've created your environment. No one else has. We are all 100% personally responsible for our results, and your environment is your result. Okay, so take a look at that. We'll dig into the rest of these 2 sentences, this paragraph, in tomorrow's morning mindset. But for now, take a look at what you have semi-consciously or unconsciously created in your environment that you are self-administering all the time, reinforcing all the time through auto-suggestion. And just make a note of that today. Good morning. I'm Amira Alvarez, and thank you for joining me for the Morning Mindset Club. Today, we are continuing our discussion on auto-suggestion, and we discussed yesterday self-administered stimuli which reach one's mind through the 5 senses. So let's take a look at those 5 senses. Most people know what they are, but let's call them out again. Sight, smell, touch, hearing, taste. Our senses are what allow us to bring in things from outside ourselves, our outside world, into our inside world, into our consciousness. And we do that through seeing, smelling, touching, hearing, taste. That's how we interpret and understand the outside world, through our senses. And so yesterday we looked at how we are perhaps semi-consciously or unconsciously self-administering stimuli to ourselves. What are we seeing? What are we smelling? What are we touching? What are we hearing? What are we tasting? This would be a great way of you evaluating what you're letting into your consciousness. Because most people, when It comes in through the senses. Do not consciously choose to reject it. They just let it in, and it goes straight into your subconscious, where it finds fertile ground and gets self-perpetuated, recreated, directed out into creation again through our subconscious programming. So with that in mind, yesterday we looked at what in your environment might not be conducive to what you want to create. Now that might be an extraordinarily long list. It's okay. Don't beat yourself up. Don't go down a rabbit hole. Just note it. It's just information. You might find yourself getting a little angry or frustrated around that. If you use that to change, I'm all for it. If you use that to beat yourself up, that's not a useful tool. That just perpetuates you staying at the same level. So today, a little bit more of the same. What are you seeing? What are you smelling? What are you touching? What are you hearing? What are you tasting in your environment that is perpetuating what you want and what you don't want? For instance, what about taste? That seems quite innocuous. But are you tasting, for me, it would be something like if I was eating carbs all the time or sugar all the time. That sends me into weight gain instantaneously. And my vision of myself is not of someone who is carrying extra weight around. So that would not be conducive. If that was in my environment right now, that would not be conducive to the vision, the desire, the person I am choosing to be. So you want to do this with what you're hearing. What are the podcasts that you're listening to? What are the TV shows that you're listening to? Who are the people in your life that you're listening to? Are there naysayers and negative people? Why are you tolerating them? Touch. Are the things that you wear soft and delightful and beautiful on your skin? Or are they rough? Long ago, I decided that I am not wearing anything that's itchy, that scratches me, that is uncomfortable, that's tight. Tight in an uncomfortable way, not tight in a sexy, form-fitting way that's comfortable. I will admit, the last holdout on this sometimes are high heels. I will admit sometimes they are uncomfortable, but I really look for the comfortable version of heels that are still got a little bit of fashionista element to it. Anyways, I digress. Look at this in your environment. What are you smelling, right? That's an interesting one. You know, there's the whole memory of smell that comes to mind for me here, okay? What are the scents and smells that bring you back to positive things or bring you back to negative things? And are you recreating that in your life? Are the smells of chocolate chip cookies lighting you up, or are they taking you off course, right? Do you live next to a factory that creates smells that you don't like? These are the kinds of things that you want to look for in your environment, and look to then start incrementally changing. Incrementally does not mean slow. Incrementally means one at a time, one right after the other, as quickly as you can manage. Good morning. I'm Amira Alvarez, and thank you for joining me for the Morning Mindset Club. This is day 3 on this one sentence. It's a juicy sentence, so let's repeat it and then dive right in. Autosuggestion is a term which applies to all suggestions and all self-administered stimuli which reach one's mind through the 5 senses. So, we're going to cover 2 things today. One, it says here, it's a term which applies to all suggestions. So, all suggestions. Everything in your environment, everything outside of yourself, everything inside of yourself. All suggestions, all things are coming into you through your five senses from the outside world, and then you are repeating them over and over again in your thinking. So you latch on to an idea, a thought, a conception, and you repeat it over and over and over again. You know you do this. You have conversations in your head. Things flash in your mind again and again. All suggestions. All suggestions. Okay? So keep that in mind. What are you suggesting to yourself again and again and again? Okay? And think about the second part that I want to call out today is this bit about all self-administered stimuli which reach one's mind through the five senses. So we talked about in a previous episode, we talked about the senses being how we understand the outside world, how we take in they're the channels through which we take in the world outside of us and bring it into the world inside of us. And also, we can take it a step further and recognize that through the use of our imagination, we can create whole new worlds. And so when you are using your imagination, use it to see new things, use it to smell new things, use it to feel and touch new things, use it to hear new things, use it to taste new things. So when you are imagining what you actually desire, that may not be in your current environment, but is what you want to create, imagine through those five senses as well. And you will then create a whole new world for yourself. And if you put that on repeat, it will be embedded into the fertile ground of your subconscious mind and will eventually be created in your outside world. It will go through you and stick, and you will start taking new action according to this new vision, if you will, new conception in your subconscious mind. And you will see new things, see new opportunities, and take different action, and you will create the thing that you desire. But it starts by embedding it in your subconscious. So do that today. Start imagining the new world that you want to create, the new goal that you want to create. What does it look like? What does it smell like? What does it feel like? What do you hear when you're living that? What are you tasting, if you will? You could get really detailed then. Okay, for the bonus content for this episode of Thinking Yourself into Exponential Results and Wealth, I want to go back to something I mentioned earlier, which is you must love in order to love. And I want to go into that a little bit deeper here, into that concept, because it's so critical to expanding your life and achieving what you desire faster than you ever thought possible. So it doesn't only have to do with love. It really works for everything that you desire, that you want in your life, all the goals that you have, the ways that what you want to experience, all of that. So think about it in terms of more than just love, but also in terms of love. Okay. And this concept that I'm going to play out for you today, this is really part of a much larger teaching, but I'm going to attempt to crystallize it and give you the crux of it here. If you are interested in going deeper into this, right? Like your interest is piqued and you're like, wow, I want more. I want to understand this more fully so that I can really implement it. Then I would suggest that you go to our website and check out what we have on offer. There's a variety of different ways that you can learn this material more deeply. The website is theunstoppablewoman.com. So unstoppablewoman.com. And there's a chat option on our website. You can chat with someone on my team. Look for our Unstoppable Woman Summits. Those are really great places to go deep and immerse yourself in this material and really walk away with a plan for yourself. And then, we have coaching programs, of course. So definitely act on that if it's something that you are interested in. Okay, so the crux of this teaching is that everything in the universe vibrates. This is the law of vibration. Everything, even what seems solid, is actually vibrating. The molecules, the atoms making up the thing that appears solid are actually vibrating. If you look at them under a microscope, they are vibrating. Everything in this universe vibrates. That's molecular vibration. Okay? That's what it's called. And everything is vibrating. And everything is vibrating at a different level of frequency. Now, the thing you need to know about this, the thing that makes it powerful, the thing that makes it something that you can use to create change in your life, to achieve what you really want, is that what we are attracted to is at the same level of vibration as what we're on. And the reverse is true as well. What is attracted to us is at the same level of vibration as where we're at. So we vibrate at a particular frequency. If you're thinking in terms of money or finances, if you want to make 10K, 20K, 100K a month, whatever your goal is, you must be vibrating at that level, not at the level you currently are at, which means that you must be at that level. Your energy, your beingness, your actions, your thoughts, your ideas must be at that level. And that's not the level you're at currently. So them's the rubs, right? Like you're not there, but you want to be there. And in order to be there, you need to be vibrating at that level of frequency. So what do? What do? In order to have that which you want, you must already be at that level. That feels like a trap. Like you couldn't possibly make that happen for yourself. And yet, you can. And the way you do this is that you become the person who already has that. So let's break this down. If you say you want to make 10K a month and you are someone who makes 2K a month, there's a gap there. You have to start thinking, using your imagination. What would a woman who makes 10K a month think, feel, act like, show up like? How would she respond? How would she walk? How would she talk? What would her sense of gratitude be? What would her sense of faith be? What would her sense of certainty be? What would her sense of love be? And you have to be that. And you do that through your imagination. You get a crystal clear idea of what that is. You might have to look around for inspiration. That's fine. Go find some role models for that. And then act as if you're that already. And when you go off course and you start behaving like the woman who makes less money, you catch yourself with that response. And you change it. And you go, okay, how would I respond if I actually was at that level that I want to be at? And this is true whether you are talking about a financial goal, a relationship goal, a health or fitness goal, a lifestyle goal. You have to be the woman before you are the woman. And that is an act as if activity that you access through your imagination. And this is how you raise your level of vibration and start attracting to you what you want, not what you already have. Okay, with that, I'm Amira Alvarez. Rock it out, be unstoppable, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for joining us and for being part of the Unstoppable Woman movement. This special series is a part of our Morning Mindset Club and comes to you here on the podcast every Saturday morning. If you'd like to join the Morning Mindset Club at no charge, you won't have to wait a whole week and can listen to this series in short daily snippets every morning. Plus, you'll get a quick implementation practice and mastery check-in to go along with it. You can find the Morning Mindset Club info in the show notes below, or just head over to theunstoppablewoman.com/mindset club. And as always, please share this podcast with 2 or 3 women who are ready for exponential growth and exponential wealth. And if you're game, we always appreciate a review on iTunes. That really helps us reach and elevate more women. Thanks so much, and be unstoppable.